Let's go, DEKA.
Welcome to the OCR Report. You are joining us here for coverage of the UK's first full DEKA Fit event, which happened this past Saturday in the East Midlands at Derby Arena. My name is Francesca Curando, and I'm joined by Jack Bauer.
Hey, Francesca, it's pretty awesome to be part of this first ever official race in the UK. They had a road show last year in Birmingham, right?
Absolutely. One of our affiliate gyms, Forders in Birmingham, an absolutely incredible affiliate, hosted a roadshow last year, but this was our first full fit, and it was an absolutely huge event and a fantastic celebration of fitness. I'm so excited to share all the action of everything that happened this past weekend.
Seems like it was a very unique venue also. It was a velodrome.
It was. So it was a place called Derby Arena, which from the outside is incredibly beautiful. It's covered in gold metal. It's very big, very imposing. And when you get inside, it is filled with light, and the track is surrounded by an indoor velodrome. So as the athletes were out running on the course, they were surrounded by athletes training on their bikes, some GB athletes, some regular people like us. And it was just an amazing way to celebrate fitness together, having all these different people in one place taking part in sport.
Yeah, I've run several DEKA Fits through the years, and I can tell you there are many times where I wish that I could just hop on a bike instead of keep running. So I'm sure that was going through some athletes' minds as the people on the bikes were whipping around them. But yeah, you want to take a look at the course itself?
Absolutely. Let's look at the course layout. So the first thing that happens with any DEKA Fit is the running. 500 meters of running precedes each zone. And at this course, that 500 meters was made up of 3 running laps. In your experience, Jack, how does that impact the race?
So I have only run 2-lap courses, but historically there have been plenty of 3-lap races in Spain. It's just kind of venue specific. Sure, you'll have a few more turns, but you can kind of keep your speed up pretty nicely. And realistically, if you transition quickly and you take care of business in the zones, you're not going to lose a whole lot of time by having the shorter footprint. You just won't have that longer straightaway necessarily to open up on. You might have a couple fewer seconds each lap where you're not able to open up.
One of the concerns some of the athletes had before the event was keeping track of the laps, but a lot of them managed to do that very, very easily. Obviously, you have to count when you're doing it. So the way this course starts was you run out, and you do 1, 2, 3 laps and into zone 1. And the zones were placed really, really nicely in numerical order, so it was very easy for the athletes to keep track and move from zone to zone. Before getting to zone 10 and claiming their finish, we had a long time until we get to there. The atmosphere was absolutely incredible in this place. Tons of supporters there cheering people on. Spectators, as always, welcomed down at DEKA, and it was just an absolutely incredible event.
I say we get the action going. Jason, you want to pull up the race?
Let's do it. Let's see what happened in this race.
Let's go, DEKA.
It's worth mentioning that this was the last weekend where athletes can qualify for DEKA World Championships. This is DEKA Fit, one of the 3 distances that will be at the World Championship in Florida in December. So a lot of these athletes, you can see the tall guy in the middle, Jude Reynolds. He actually came over from the UK and he won. He got first place in the 18 to 24 age group in Ocala, Florida last year at the World Championship. So he's got experience. You know that if he runs a fast time, he's probably going to come over again.
Yeah, it was. It was the final weekend of Fit qualifiers. This coming weekend is the final weekend of Strong and Mile qualifiers, but this was the final weekend for Fit. So the competition was really, really fierce. Not only was it the final weekend here in the East Midlands, we also had an event happening in Austin, Texas. So athletes were kind of battling out at the same time to claim those final spaces. And I think that kind of increased the competition quite a bit, to be honest.
I was one of those athletes in Austin hoping to do well and didn't go as well as I was hoping for, honestly. But, you know, I know that a lot of athletes over in Europe have surprised some of the U.S. athletes. We saw several come over from Spain and throughout Europe last year and finished 5th through 10th in the elite heat. So we know Europe has a ton of talent. So let's from right to left in the red, that's David Parkin, correct? Jude Reynolds next to him. And
there's David Parkin right to the edge in the red there.
Jude Reynolds has the lighter shirt, the taller athlete in the middle, and then that looks like Jack Murphy with the hat, I believe, on the left. Or no?
Jack Murphy...
Zoomed out a little bit.
Is it going to be funny when you're commentating and then can see yourself in the video?
It is indeed funny when you're commentating to see yourself in the video. So we had, I'm going to say a quick shout out to our rabbits here jumping in. Kirsty and Lee, both big Spartan and DEKA fans, did an absolute stellar job. And then you can also see Iris from Spartan Race Europe and Tough Mudder Europe, who was an incredible asset over the weekend.
Let's not forget to mention you were there as well.
I was there as well, and I'm going to get in the frame a lot, so I apologize to everyone watching, but it was so much fun. It's so hard to stay out of the way of the cameras, I have learnt. So we actually had this wave was seeded by yourself and Yancey. You did that together, choosing the top performing athletes based on past results to put into this first wave.
Correct. Most of the time, I think there were several dozen athletes who signed up, and you just kind of want to make sure that the fastest athletes get a chance to be with the other fastest athletes, because you push each other to a faster time. And some of these athletes, since there hasn't been a huge DEKA presence in the UK prior to this year, they've only done high rocks, whether it's an age group heat or a pro heat. Some of them have some history with Spartan. Others have only done a mile or strong. So I tried looking at all those, and I think I did a pretty reasonable job getting the right people in there.
I mean, a pretty reasonable job. You are the stats guy. If there's information to be known about an athlete and you don't know it, then it doesn't exist. And here we go. The first full fit of the UK has set off, and the athletes set off at a blistering pace. I do wonder whether one of the things with having a 3-lap 500 meters is because it looks shorter. Is it potential that the athletes may run too fast, too quickly? That's Jack Murphy there in second place, currently following David Parkin. Jack in the grey t-shirt.
I like his name. David Parkin just setting the tone right away. If you've watched enough OCR through the years on OCR Report, he's doing what Nicole Miracle does. Just, I'm going to go to the front from step one, let you know you're going to have to beat me if you're going to win this race.
Something great to mention as well about these athletes. David Parkin is 38. He's in his late 30s. Some of the other athletes in their early 20s, some athletes in their late 40s in this first wave. Something I really love about DEKA is how there doesn't seem to be an ideal age group for athletes performing. It seems that the strength just keeps growing and the speed hasn't left them.
As someone who just turned 36, I'm glad to hear that there are still people doing okay in their late 30s. And you saw
As you can
Jude
see,
Reynolds
there's,
right there. Jude was hanging back in the pack, and he ended up, like I mentioned, winning his age group at World Championship last year. So you have different strategies. Some people get out hot, others they're just gonna work their way up through the race. We'll see what pays off. But those two heading into the race, David had a PR of 32:04, Jude had a 32:03. So those are my two heavy favorites.
We just saw Dave looking behind him over his shoulder to see whether anyone was approaching as he went into zone 1. And that's
Now,
Jack Murphy right behind him on his tail.
with the black and white cap.
The black and white cap and the grey t-shirt, indeed.
One thing
An
that's a little
interesting
bit
thing
different
about Jude
versus
Reynolds and David Parkin that you mentioned, two athletes again, totally different age groups and totally different sizes as well. You know, one is very tall, one's a lot shorter, and also an opposite end of the scale in age. And you're saying that they're your two favourites for this course.
Yeah, and David came in at about 136, so that's sub 16 5K pace right there. Clearly got out of there 35, 40 seconds or so. He's moving right back up to speed. He's got real quick turnover. He's run 54:28 for a High Rocks age group and 58:04 in the pro division. But his run splits, he's averaging way below 340 per kilometer. He's one of the best runners out there.
He's an incredibly strong runner, and he was coming into this competition having just beaten his own record at Deadly Dozen, which was the record. So I think he came in with something to prove, and the way he's set out already, he's already out on his second lap whilst people have only just finished in zone 1. It really looks like he's got something to say.
He's halfway around the course before everybody got around that bend. And if we're taking a look at the position, what's 15 seconds down Jude Reynolds at the moment? Really good athlete, and I know that we keep mentioning him. He's not in second place right now, but just looking at what he did last year at Ocala for the World Championship, he worked his way up. But this is a commanding lead. He's almost lapping the field 3.5 minutes into the race.
That is absolutely incredible. I just give a shout out in this moment. You can see some cyclists going around the track, which is it was an incredible sight to see this and to have it. And I think the athletes loved it as well. And you can see how awesome this venue is. It's such a great sports venue. You've got all the seating up there, which Lacing gets absolutely filled with athletes from all the affiliate gyms coming and working together and cheering everyone on.
Was it distracting seeing them going around, or just kind of cool?
For me, no, it was kind of cool, and it made for some absolutely excellent shots.
Okay, so David got in, started strapping in at about 4:03, started pulling at 4:07, so about 4 seconds of delay right there. He's probably going to get out of here right around 6 minutes, I would say. What's his display saying? I just missed that.
It looks like, I think, John Dean coming in just after him.
Most of the top athletes in the U.S. are pulling 145 to 147 on the row. It's not actually a location where you want to make up time. It's more just settle in, get the job done, and get back out there, because going 2 seconds too fast on this will blow your legs up when you're under 6 minutes into a race. That's going to take you over half an hour. It's not a good time to blow your legs up. So I think that this is kind of a trap station if you go a little too fast.
I love that. What a lot of the athletes commented on was the speed you need in your legs in order to succeed at a DEKA Fit. You have to have those fast runs. You can be strong in the zones, and obviously that pays off. But you've got to be a good runner, because they are moving so quickly across that 5K.
More than half your time is spent on the course running. Each individual zone might take you anywhere from 40 seconds to maybe 2.5 minutes on the sled, but in between every single zone, you're going to be spending minute 45, 2 minutes out there on the runs. It adds up. You're spending close to 2/3 of your race running, so you're definitely correct that running is going to be the bigger impact on your final result. I think that David probably has under 10 seconds left, just based on his split at the moment. They're pointing at it. Yep, there he goes. Sub 6, that is moving.
Shout out there to Spartan Phil. Anyone in the UK and Europe will know who he is. The guy who wears the helmet and not very much else, to be honest. Usually calling the Spartan start lines here in the UK. He was our guest MC this weekend and he did an absolutely incredible job. He's always such a pleasure to have with us at races, so thank you so much. Here he comes, he's moving so fast with no one behind him.
He's taking the corners well. It looked like on that course map earlier that it's kind of a 90-degree turn on one end of the arena, but the other has nice curves. Like right here where David's running, you're able to keep your speed up really well while you're just turning left. I think that he's cornering very well on the straighter edges that he's approaching.
Yeah, two of the bends were quite sharp, and he was quite fortunate there that he had a nice empty track to take whichever line he wanted, but there are some really, really lovely smooth bends as you get to the top.
Yeah.
Anybody who's done a High Rocks or a few DEKA venues in the US, they're unique. You're at a convention center. Sometimes you've got poles in certain areas where they have to bend the course out of the way. It's just kind of to be expected. There's no standard. We're doing this on an outdoor track, like a nice 400-meter curves like they have, but it's same number of laps, same order every single time, very consistent results.
I will say the course fit absolutely perfectly onto the floor here. It was like it was made to measure for the DEKA zones and the runs.
While we have Heat 2 on the lunges, that was something that I forgot to mention earlier. A lot of the athletes in the US that I have seen, they don't turn around and get ready to run out. That was very unique that pretty much everybody in the UK was facing the middle essentially, so that once they drop it, they can just leave right away.
Okay. So what would happen in the US more typically?
Most people they want to carry their speed until the last possible second, and then they're facing the ram to pick it up anyway. It looked like a lot of the athletes in the UK faced the ram and then did a 180 or ran past the ram to pick it up so that they were facing inwards. It was a little bit different than we're used to.
Here we just saw coming into the zones, we saw Dave Parkin running in first, followed by Jude Reynolds, who we've spoken about a fair amount, and Jack Murphy as well. What do you know about Jack Murphy?
So Jack ended up qualifying for, he got 18th and 19th in his age group at a couple of High Rocks races. He's run 63.15 for age group High Rocks, 68.10 solo, and he did a DEKA strong before, but his credentials on paper don't necessarily make him a favorite, but clearly about 9 minutes into the race, he's hanging up there in podium position.
He is, but I mean, we're only 9 minutes into the race, which is quite a large percentage of a world record DEKA fit finisher time, but we're zone 3. So there's a lot that can still happen and a lot can change very quickly when there's such small margins. Things can make a difference quite quickly, can't they?
Yeah, things will blow up very quickly if you don't pace well. That happened to me this weekend. I was doing fine until I wasn't, and every athlete is going to experience that one time in DEKA and make sure that they don't do it again. So just because you see this position at the moment doesn't mean that's how you're going to finish. Unlike a lot of road races or in a marathon, if you broke the pack, you're probably staying ahead of them the rest of the race. That is not the case in DEKA. There are a lot of lead changes.
Had a nice little snippet of both of our rabbits. That's Kirsty there. She's a huge DEKA supporter in the UK. It's actually thanks to her that we had a ruck wave on Sunday. She came to us and said, please put one on, and we did, and it was fantastic. So having her support us with the OCR report and the live stream was just amazing.
So this is the two race weekend, or 2-day weekend, I guess.
2-day, yes. We had teams on the Saturday, individual on the Saturday and teams on the Sunday, and then some final last-minute qualifier slots on the Sunday for individuals, plus a ruck wave. And it was an incredible weekend. It was full of so many exciting things. We had a world record attempt and completion. We had a proposal. We had adaptive athlete out on course in a wheelchair. We had loads of incredible kids out there. We had 7 people in their 70s plus. It was just an amazing weekend full of everyone, and as we like to say at DEKA, we are all athletes, and that was proven this weekend.
Very cool. If you're looking at sit-ups right here, David looks like he's throwing it a little bit farther. Jude rises a little bit higher. Kevin Gregory, who's arguably the best in the world at DEKA Strong over the life of the DEKA brand, he does kind of what David was doing, where he throws it a little bit farther instead of just saving that couple tenths of a second that you have to go up and then come back down. If you're a strong enough athlete, you can pull that off, but most athletes don't. They'll get a little bit closer before they throw it.
So using more power from the arms to throw rather than moving your body further.
If you can do that, it's definitely possible. Now, that guy on the right doesn't even have his feet hooked in underneath it. He's going to have a long time at that station because he's going to keep drifting back and back and back.
So that was Dave Parkin leaving first, followed by Jude Reynolds in the white.
See the guy with the neon shoes over there on the right? Like he's taking a little bit slower. So if he's watching that video, get your feet under that bar next time, buddy.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, if this was me at this point, I'd probably be quite happy to be taking it a little bit slower and grabbing a breath, because these guys are moving so fast.
And the way that DEKA is set up, this is the first kind of core zone, where the first three were very leg heavy. You did lunges. Rowing is actually a leg dominant exercise. If you're doing it properly, then you have step overs. Now you move into sit-ups, and then your next one is going to be ski erg, which is basically just a bunch of crunches over and over again. Then you have farmer's carry, where you're supporting your body, or you have to have a strong core to make sure that you have the about 30 kilos in each hand for the men in the pro wave, just to make sure that you keep your core tight. So this is just warming you up for a little bit more core.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah.
We had a good discussion at the weekend because we all noticed the same thing over which zone causes people the most trouble, and I'm sure you have an opinion on that as well, both due to placement and due to what it actually is, but we will get to that one soon.
I'm willing to bet we haven't seen it yet. Is that where you're getting at?
I am. What I loved at the weekend was seeing the athletes with the different techniques and how to make the most of each zone. And as you said before about the med ball sit-ups, you know, there's a way to do it that you can do it the fastest and most efficiently without using too much energy. And we saw that a lot on the ski erg as well.
So we've got an 18-second gap. Jude is just a taller athlete. He's, just absolutely ripping this. That's probably smart, lowering the damper a little bit. So that's another thing for people who are watching this. Just because 10 is available doesn't mean you should do a 10. I think the pre-setting is a 6 for DEKA, but I would recommend 4, 5. Yeah, that's what Ryan Kent and some of the faster athletes over time they've continually lowered their damper, and I feel like that's that's the way to go to kind of maximize efficiency and not blow your body up.
So that helps you make the most of a balance between speed.
It's a 30-minute race. Yeah, it's a 30-minute plus race, and you don't want to just go all power and blow up your. Have to really have a lot of power per stroke. If you can keep your stroke rate in like the low 40s or so, high 30s during the race, that's gonna probably allow you to have a better second half of the race after this, without blowing your body up. Wish we could see the screens that would give their 500-meter pace, but just looking at when David came in, he came in at 13:05. He'll probably leave roughly 15 flat. I've been 15:09, 15:10, and I've run sub 32 a couple times. So he's on pace for probably the mid to high 31s at the moment, which would certainly get him into world championship position.
I love your ability to do this math and to know these stats. It's something that sets you apart.
Well,
it's so incredible. I don't know how you have that information, but it's incredible.
I may have run Austin this weekend and looked at those for a long time to know where I was supposed to be. So, spoiler alert.
So as the race is going on and as they're going through the zones, the course is filling up more, which differs it from the races that we may be more used to in OCR, for example, Spartan races, where once an athlete's out on a course, the course is empty, and it's usually just the female athletes that battle with people out, around them. At DEKA and with the laps, you're not getting a free run, are you? You're having to work around the people that are already there. That must change things up a little bit.
Got to have a little agility. Yeah, I was going to say I would split these two people in the middle instead of going wide, and that's exactly what David did. You just got to pick your line, and just as you're approaching someone on your left, on your right, stay where you're at. Just people get it. They're you know if the runner or if there's a leader coming by. This is a small footprint, so you're gonna see that guy in the red shirt run by you several times. If you can see him coming on the other side of the track, just be prepared, do the right thing, and let the faster people have their preferred line.
Which way round are they going?
Well, this is a question as well, Jack, because obviously this is a race that's run in lots of waves. So it's not necessarily the people who cross the line 1, 2, 3 that are going to be the top athletes. You could have somebody who started in the second heat. Is that something, or even the third? Is that something that ever happens? Is that common?
Like you mentioned at the beginning, I'm in charge of seeding the athletes, so I don't like it when that's happened. I think it's happened one time, and the only reason why I didn't put this athlete who I thought had a lot of potential in Heat 1 was because there were so many athletes who had a PR heading into it that it was like, all right, they've proven themselves in DEKA. Yes, this is probably not how the race is going to finish, but you got to give the athletes with experience, a little bit of reward for running and representing DEKA in the past.
We literally saw Dave kind of zoom into the zone so quickly, he almost couldn't stop himself there.
He's quick. Oh, these are kettlebells instead of dumbbells. That's a little different than the US. I prefer kettlebells, definitely. The weight balance is a little bit different, and they don't have to sit on your wrist the way that a normal dumbbell does.
Agree. I also prefer kettlebells and the trick of holding it on the corner. A lot easier than holding it in the middle.
Exactly, and it looks like Jude is only 50 meters behind him at this point, so despite David getting a lot of the camera attention, Jude is still in the ballpark.
He's not far behind, and he is much taller, so he's got a good chance he can make up distance quite quickly, and a lot of strength behind him, I imagine.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a younger athlete. I think he's 23 years old, so you got the late 30s, early 20s, the beginning versus end of your career type of battle. But right now, the veteran's got his number.
Just behind you as well.
And I think these are 60 pounds, so 25 to 30 kilos roughly per hand. Definitely taxes you. It's not the longest distance. Oh, look at that spin move right there.
Nice. One of the things that we had to do in the UK was our kit partner, Gym Gear, has made specific DEKA medicine balls for the pound to kilo translation so that they are accurate. And now they will come with little DEKA logos on them, so affiliates can buy those and have them specifically in their gym. They're fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I think that kilos are way better. Just the metric system. I don't know why we don't do it in the U.S., but gotta be able to go both ways in conversions.
I mean, in the UK, that's what we do. People do go both ways, but I've always been a metric girl, to be honest. I don't really understand pounds.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, does it look like David's pace is a little bit slower than it was earlier?
It does to me.
Yeah, just his
cadence.
Tell me
the facts, aren't you?
No. His cadence looks a little bit slower. I'm gonna look up his run split. So after skier, okay, early on he went 138, 142, 148, 154, 151, and 2 flat 0.1 on this past lap. So maybe which is what a lot of athletes do, tapering back, knowing that the air bike's coming. You wanna make sure that your heart rate isn't through the roof once you touch the air bike, because this is a game changer type of zone.
It is. This is something we've learned in the past, that this is a zone where it can be won and lost if you are fast enough.
Definitely. And you saw Jude when he came in, and David, I might have missed it, but I believe all the seats are lowered, so nobody has an advantage of just showing up and being like, sweet, it's at the perfect height. You have to adjust your seat or raise it to your preferred height. I'm assuming someone like Jude, who's a taller athlete, just rise all the way to the top, doesn't even have to think about it. Others, if you're kind of in the middle for your height, you might have to eyeball it a little bit more and know your setting beforehand.
Now we have the first 3 athletes in the running orders, with David, Jude, and Jack. And that's the order in which they came into Zone 7. Now, Jack was an athlete that wasn't seeded massively highly in the list. due to not having a ton of information about him. But so far is really holding his own and showing that he's here to compete.
Yeah, I looked at it, since he had some High Rocks experience, he was averaging sub 4 for his like high 350s for his kilometer pace at High Rocks, and that was some of the fastest in the field. For instance, he averaged 355 and Jack averaged 359. So I was like, okay, they're comparable runners. Jude probably is a little bit stronger just from his frame and DEKA experience, but Jack has the running credentials to deserve being in this front heat. And I mean, sitting in third position, looks like he's spending a little bit more time than the other guys on the air bike. I think he's probably ready to get this over with, but still in the podium at the moment.
Well, this is the infamous zone that everyone's always ready to get over with, isn't it? I mean, psychologically, for me, it feels like you're at zone 7. You're really far into the race, you're exhausted, you're probably at capacity almost, but you've still got a lot of race to go. And this is, in most of people's opinions, the toughest zone. And I mean, I guess that's why they put it here, right?
It's all evil how certain zones are ordered. That's how I see it. And then you think this is the worst one, then you have to do ram burpees at the end.
Once this is done, you're all good.
You can hear a rabbit saying, this is the worst one.
That's what they all say, but... All right, so we haven't seen David or Jude. There's Jack again.
There's Jack.
David Parkin, Jude Reynolds, Jack.
So oftentimes you'll see an athlete really crush the air bike, and then their next run might be 10 to 15 seconds slower than their normal run. So sure, you gained a little bit of time on the zone itself, but you're going to lose it all on that run. So I think you need to kind of find that balance where is it worth blowing yourself up to save a few seconds on the bike versus punish your legs for the remainder of the runs, because you still have 10 minutes left in the race after this.
Yeah. And then cruelly, the next zone involves a lot of arms and a lot of legs. Jack, Jude is so tall that it looks like he barely has to, he's just tossing that ball over. Like, there's not much arm work going on there. It's like, whoop, there it goes.
David looks like he's like his pace looks faster, but the ball is going over at the same time. Jude's just kind of casually lifting it up. You're right, just chucking it over the barrier. And this is one of those ones that just blows up your hamstring, your lower back a little bit, but it's not too much of a game changer. Once you get off this, though, you know your race is very close to being over. So sled push and pull, that's a game changer where you can make up 10 or so seconds, but you might blow your legs up a little too much for that final run home and ram burpees. So I still don't recommend pushing super hard at this particular zone because you still have a decent amount, 7-8 minutes left in the race on the high end.
And the thing with each of the zones as well is they're just enough reps to be too many. You know, you can start off too fast and you see a lot of the athletes kind of slowing down as they get into it. Feels okay to start with, I can do this, and then, oh, actually 20 is quite a lot, especially when you're having to move yourself each time, which is what differs in the fit compared to the strong and mild.
So if you look at Jack in third place, he's kind of throwing the ball in the middle. The faster athletes kind of hug that post that they're going around. So that he's taking 5 steps every single time when he goes around it. Some of the athletes are taking 4. So just that extra step, he probably has a slower split noticeably than the 2 guys ahead of him. So yeah, it looks like his split was 126. Jude ended up doing a 110. So I think that would be an area where Jack Murphy can make up a little bit of time and efficiency.
I absolutely loved the way this zone looked, and it looked so cool pre-race when everything was empty, as they do, but just the sign after DEKA, the sign after sign, so beautifully and neatly laid out. It looked absolutely incredible. The race itself it looked so good.
It's a cool facility that it's hosted at. Most of the time in the U.S. it's at convention centers, but this is obviously a multi-use athletic facility, and you can see all the different striping and marks on the ground. So Very, very cool zone.
Which did actually get confusing for some of the athletes, and we'll see that in the next zone. There were a lot of judges having to shout exactly which line you're going to and making sure it's clear, because everything's taped out. But with all those lines on the floor, you've really got to make sure you're going to the right one, because this is a zone specifically where people don't always get their wheels in the right place. It's these small things that can cause huge slowdowns when you're racing like this.
So that's interesting. They're picking opposite sides. Oh, got some handle management. If I was Jude, I would have gone right next to him just to let him know that I was there. But there's also a benefit of who knows what he's doing behind you, because you can't turn around. Neither of you is able to look at each other. So if Jude thinks that this is a good place to make a move, I can understand him taking the other side, but I personally would have gone right next to him to kind of gauge where I'm at.
I get very confused because I'm a big proponent of running your own race, but also we push each other to be more competitive. So it's always a balance between the two, isn't it?
It is, but these athletes are definitely they're going off of each other. That's what they're gauging their efforts off of. It seemed like Jude, he might have been 15 seconds down in the after lunges, or that run after lunges, and he's kind of just floated around there the entire race up until this point. So I think that they're gauging off each other.
Yeah, the Jack's just entered the zone 9.
Have you pushed these sleds before?
Not prior to this weekend, no.
Okay. They're magnetic resistance, so it doesn't look like a lot of weight is loaded on there, because it's not, but the harder you push, the more it kind of fights back at you. So that kind of increases the challenge, where you don't have these crazy heavy sleds like you would in high rocks. You just kind of keep moving with it, but if you really want to blow up your legs, it's going to happen using this type of sled.
This is one we saw a lot of people really struggling, and I think one of the things, again, it's like I was saying with the last zone, is how many times you have to do it, the back and forth, stopping, starting, stopping, starting, keeping count. Like going around corners and, having to slightly put the brakes on to get round the corner. All of it takes its toll and just adds that bit of difficulty.
Mm-hmm. So I'm willing to bet that David is done. I don't see, oh no, he's right there. Sorry, it was cut off by the bottom part of the screen. So he should be done very soon. So he's probably going to finish around 32 minutes. I think 28:40, 28:45.
That's David and Jude leaving the zone together,
simultaneously.
neck and neck.
Yeah.
Jude was just a second ahead, and now they're running together. David slowly getting a few steps in front. That is exciting. Right on that last zone to have caught up so much, to be so close on this last run. And this is a decider, and this is the interesting thing about DEKA Fit, is it is a short sprint race, really, isn't it? You have to be pushing constantly. And what it tells me here, Jude, if this was a longer race for Jude, would he have longer to catch up? But he's got to work with this point and what's going to happen.
At this point, he's just sticking on David. He's like, I'm going to get there at the same time. I looked at his splits. He went 126 in Ocala at World Championship, which that's solid. It's not outstanding. He had a really good sled pull in Ocala. I think he was actually the fastest in all the age groups, but 126 for his ram burpees. If David's really good at this, I think that's an area where he might be able to be in like the 1-teens or so. But I think Jude is making the right call, just staying with them, and then it's just who's willing to suffer a little bit more on these final 20.
You said right at the beginning of the race that we're seeing a lot of great European athletes. Here we can see the female elite starting to line up ready. We're gonna get the male elites finished and then head to the women. But we have an incredible range of elite athletes over here in Europe, and they're starting to get a bit more recognition with more events being put on. They're getting more opportunities to perform. So I do think that this year's World Championship should be really interesting. We should have a really even bigger mix of nationalities than we normally have, and potentially a bit more of a combination in that elite wave.
Pretty sure that you have Australia, Canada, Spain, UK, like a lot of people represented. But let's go back to this.
I mean, they entered this zone, zone 10, the final zone. They entered again, neck and neck.
David's
Jude
going
to be
noticeably
going
quicker.
ahead of David.
This is definitely one of those where range of motion, if you're a shorter athlete, you're going to like burpees a lot better. There are some unbelievable athletes at specifically around burpees, and most of them are on the shorter end. David is just flying through this. I'm impressed.
It feels like he's 2 burpees ahead now. Would that be correct?
2 or 3 at this point. And Jude is doing what you should do if you're a taller athlete. Just get your legs wide, your stance on the standing up. That kind of reduces your range of motion. But I think that David just has the higher turnover. He's only 2 or 3 away at this point. Oh, that's the final one. Sub 32. What an impressive showing.
That is the first across the line is David Parkin from Cranley. The male elites. He took the lead right from the beginning and he held on to it throughout the whole race. It's unlikely anyone is going to be taking that time off him, so I think we can safely say he is the first place, followed by Jude Reynolds, who was also a very a top pick for this event. 2 totally different athletes, different in height, different in age, but they again really battled together. And this was Jack Murphy coming in 3rd to the zone.
Jude just dove over the line. That was his legs did not want any more steps in him.
He did. So here at this event, there was the line and then a backup finish line just in case the first one failed. And so it was incredible actually to see. He went across the first line and then rolled himself across the next and then rolled further into the finisher part. So now we potentially have a battle for 3rd place, right?
Yeah, the one closest to the camera on the left. I'm trying to get his number on there, but he with the backwards hat, he is flying through. That looks like Joe Orr. His cadence is noticeably faster than the other guy with the hat, Jack Murphy. So being closer to the finish line and having a faster cadence, that position might actually help him out.
It's tactical. Every movement that these athletes do is tactical, isn't it? If I can get in and get closer to the finish line, that means when I do finish, if I can get a little bit of speed, I can get across that line even faster. It's all fair, it's all the same distance covered, but it's your choice in what you do.
Do you want to do it running in or have a little extra run after?
Well, that was Jack Murphy.
Oh, I was going to say you just snuck by him right there. Oh, 3 guys.
It was Jack Murphy followed by Joe Orr. He snuck behind him so he wouldn't have had a chance to see him, which that's going to be one of those classic finish line moments. But these athletes are really coming in thick and fast, close together. This is a strong competition.
And 5th place looks like Jack Waymark was only a couple of seconds behind Joe. So 3, 4, 5 separated by only 6 seconds right there. That's under 2 burpees. Yeah. Very close finish.
Crazy. An incredible race. The elite men, and straight away we're off with the elite women. So right here at the front in the black bra, this is a lady called Mimi Paton, who was somebody that everybody was talking about going into this race. She was kind of the one that people were very excited to see. What do you know about Mimi?
She came over to DEKA World Champs last year. She's a younger athlete, 22 years old, and she ended up getting 3rd in the 18 to 24 age group in fit and 2nd in the mile last year.
You were rapid, yeah. Well done. Great race.
She's definitely the name on.
Let's let David chime in real quick.
Yeah.
Well, that's you're on a small soul floor, so yeah, it's part of it. Everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah.
So. No, it's really good to be seeded as well.
Yeah.
Wave 1 was top class.
Yeah, you guys went hard. Well done. Honestly, a great race. What do you think of the venue?
Oh, the venue's amazing.
Yeah.
Such a spectacle.
Yep.
Makes you want to go harder.
Yeah.
But enjoy it, you know.
Yeah.
It's a great arena, and hopefully you just keep doing them, because I did DEKA Fit last year.
Yes. Yep.
I got the quickest time there, but I entered age group.
I
didn't understand the rules.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
but a little bit quicker this time, so yeah.
Yeah, well, congratulations. A great result today. Well done. You absolutely smashed it.
And I look forward to Manchester.
Yes.
Because that's my hometown. So.
Oh, well, you've got to represent then. You've got to represent. Well done, Dave. Great race.
Yeah, well done to Jude and everybody
Well
else
done.
and all the judges and marshals.
Yeah.
Shouting out loud is brilliant.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad. Well done. Great race, Dave. Thank you.
Manchester's my hometown also. That's where I grew up. Just not in the UK.
Me too.
No way.
Oh, I like
New Hampshire.
Jack.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. So yeah, as you said,
New England, not old
we are
England.
heading to Manchester.
Well done. Super quick
Original England. We're heading to Manchester next year. We have announced the date, 18th and 19th July in Manchester. Tickets aren't yet on sale, but they will be soon. And we are coming back to Derby Arena, East Midlands, in September. So here we go, with the women all coming in very close into this first zone. That was Gracious. Vanderberg slowly coming in, followed by Mimi Paton. But these women are so close together. It's hard to pick them from each other, especially when they all wear the same outfit.
A lot of black shorts and sports bras. It's there's not a whole lot of differentiation, to be honest, with the outfits. Yeah, just some of the contenders when I was doing the seeds. Emma Henahane, she ended up winning a Deadly Dozen earlier this year, so clearly some experience in the hybrid space. You have Stacey Tranter, who ended up running 70 low for High Rocks age group. You have a few other athletes who've done pretty well in High Rocks, whether it's pro. Cheryl Mitchell, or Sherelle, she qualified.
I just saw her heading out in third place from the zone.
Yeah, she qualified for High Rocks Worlds in the 25 to 29 division when it was hosted in Manchester in 2023. So clearly a high-level athlete. But I would say that Mimi is definitely the class of the field just based on who's in the list.
Yeah, Mimi currently sitting in second place, but we're right at the beginning. That was Gracious there running past us first. As the zone, it was Gracious, followed by Mimi Paton, followed by Sherelle Mitchell. And these women are really on each other's tails right now. And there is Kate Collinet, bright yellow bra, easy to remember.
Okay, we'll easily be able to ID her.
I say this all the time, and I'm sure you do when I'm covering races. If you wear something that's individual and easy to notice, you're probably going to get a bit more attention because people pick you out. But this is a top tip for anyone who supplies clothing to elite athletes. Give them something exciting. Let's make some really fun, colourful kit out there.
I wore my outfit this past race was the race brand colors, so pink and navy blue. So you saw a guy with pink, that was me.
My race colours used to be bright pink and black.
And I've got like two.
All right, so it looked like Kate passed by again, saw the yellow.
That should look really good.
Let's take a look at the splits just to get a feel for how fast they're going.
Depends.
So zone 1, you said Gracious was in the lead. She went out in 1:59, so basically 20 flat 5K pace for her opening lap. That's moving pretty well. Mimi was about a second behind her, and now looks like we're going into the row. Is that Emma in third on the right?
Emma.
I believe it is.
On the right, do you mean on the right as we look in? We have Sherelle.
Yeah. Second
Gracious,
position,
followed by
basically
Sherelle,
behind the
and
one
on-
in yellow.
Yeah, and on the one closest to
Behind
us,
Kate.
we have Mimi and Kate.
So Kate ended up
Sounds
running
like her
a
as well
70.
to our-
Yeah. Kate ended up running a 72:23 in the age group division at High Rocks. That's her PR, and she was running 450 kilometer pace, which is pretty good for the women's field. So I think that's why she's sitting in podium position at the moment. There she is. Really leaning back.
And Gracious here, battling it out.
Sherelle, yeah.
I feel terrible not saying Gracious's full name. Gracious Van Denberg Slowy. It's a fantastic name, very tricky to type out whilst you're running, but an incredible
Well, she's
name.
not
Also
slow.
an incredible athlete. She is not slow. Gracious Van Denberg Basti.
I had a teacher, Vandenberg, as the last name, so that's interesting. I don't think they're related.
So all of our judges were wearing bright yellow t-shirts all weekend. They were so easy to spot. And you know what? They were absolutely incredible, especially these judges here in Zone 2 that you can see. We got so many compliments about them right at the front, cheering people on all day long. And you know, we cannot put these events on without the athlete judges. And they do such an incredible job. So huge thank you to everyone that came this weekend. And if you do want to be part of a DEKA Fit, you can be an athlete judge. And you already saw some pretty nice perks too.
Look at the stroke rate, and it looks like Gracious just left the zone. But Mimi had a much slower turnover than
soon after.
Yeah.
Ooh, is this
no.
allowed?
Yeah, probably what happened right there is she was probably about 485 to 490 meters and just assumed it would roll over to 500. But if you aren't sitting on the seat, you can unclip. But if you are not sitting on the seat once it reaches 500 meters, you get a penalty, and it's something like a minute if you miss, or 2 minutes if you leave too early. You do not want to miss a couple of meters. So I think that she realized that, quickly sat back down in the seat, and just pulled those final 5 to 10 meters to avoid the penalty.
Yeah, that wasted her quite a lot of time there. When we look at 3, 4, 5 for the men were within seconds of each other, weren't they? If we think about those seconds wasted, when you're pushing so hard, you don't want to waste any time, do you?
It's a big deal, and the row is actually a place where quick transitions can make a massive difference. I've got pretty big feet, and I can't tell you how many times I've got to the rower and the straps are just pulled tight, and I'm like, now I have to loosen them because I just happen to pick a rower where a smaller person was beforehand. And then same deal, it's like if you get in a far one instead of a close one, now you have to run an extra couple of seconds in and out. And so that's a place where you can really make up a few seconds just in quick transitions.
You can see our judge there, the one. We got so many compliments about this gentleman all day, and he is cheering these elite athletes on as they go past. It's crazy how many different things there are to train for in this sport, isn't it? I imagine you could spend so much time just training transitions to get them so smooth.
Mm-hmm. Keeping the motivation up.
Oh, no worries.
Loved him, and he did that all day long. He did not let up. Every athlete he cheered like that. It was absolutely incredible. And that was the vibe all weekend. All the judges were absolutely amazing. So supportive.
Oh. She's a little confused on how many laps to do. You're gracious.
I mean, I don't blame her. There's a lot going on, absolutely exhausted. I can't think straight at all over race weekend. So how athletes are able to keep track of stuff is pretty incredible.
And you just saw, I think that was Mimi just backtracking right there. A little confused on how many laps. Another. Oh, no.
Oh, that's Sherelle going out for another lap there. She came in, left, and went out. How does that impact? Is that going into a zone and leaving immediately? Is that going to equal a penalty? As long as they go back in afterwards, that's okay, right?
I think as long as she finishes her lap and doesn't miss a lap, it shouldn't. No, if she missed a lap, it's like if you miss one lap on a run, it's a multi-minute penalty. I'd want to say 3 minutes.
If you miss a lap,
so that's a
you get
big deal.
3-minute penalty. But if you go into the zone, realize you've missed a lap, go out and rerun that lap, is that still a penalty?
I didn't see the full circumstance. Like, I don't know if she for sure did, the full number of laps, but if she only ran 2 of the 3, then she would be penalized. Look at this. You've got box jumps. That is wasting a lot of energy in this event. I did that my first time, and it was not a good decision. I would recommend just do the step overs. Blowing your legs up for later. It's only 10 minutes in.
Techniques here. Very light touches and flying over the boxes often, don't we?
Mm-hmm. And you can see that it's the same exact box. It's a 60-centimeter box that the men used. So there's no scaling on this one. So definitely a little bit more challenging if you're a shorter athlete on the women's side, or on the men's side, for instance. In that zone, honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference. It looks like Mimi split. She did 39 seconds, and some other splits. Oh, actually, Kate was 53 seconds, so that was a pretty big gap that she made up. 15 seconds, and Emma 46 seconds. So I guess Mimi was just much more efficient, which makes sense given that she has times in DEKA Mile and DEKA Strong. She's got some DEKA experience. So this is the movement that you can make up a little ground, I guess, with some experience versus, your first time doing it.
We definitely had some athletes this weekend where it was their first time, and you could see how it made the race more difficult, whether it was being familiar with the movements, familiar with the zones, or even the rules. It pays off to get down to affiliate gyms. In the UK, we have races. I'm not sure we've had a weekend with no races on this year. Whether it's strong and miles happening constantly. And it's the same 10 zones, it's just a different amount of running. So if you're not a big fan of running, take yourself down to a strong, practice the 10 zones, you can do it. And you can train at the affiliate gyms as well. Same in the US, same across Europe. You can get moving on these zones, get practicing the movements, not just in events, also in training sessions.
It makes a difference because you need to get good at the zones and running, so why not practice just the zones at some point? I think it's a really good idea to get to one of the local events.
This looks like a nice smooth technique from Mimi here.
Yeah, she's pretty efficient at it.
Mimi, Gracious, and Sherelle there on one side. Kate and Emma on the other side. Emma Hennehagen.
Yep. 1:30 Deadly Dozen earlier.
I think it was Haley Biggs as well joining at the end.
So looks like Gracious, she paused a little bit going up. Looks like she's a little bit slower, but kind of refound her cadence. But that sometimes happens when your hands get sweaty. You're like, oh crap, it's moving out of your hand. It is a medicine ball. It's not, it can get slippery.
This is all brand new kit as well. This kit had never been used before. Tested for the event, but not been used in an event. Which I imagine is going to make a bit of a difference on how it feels and how it performs.
Okay, they did. Okay, they all did 3. Yeah. Right.
We can hear,
Saw the top 3 only
rabbits in the
separated by a
background.
couple seconds.
Instagram is Mimi
Talking. I think there's some confusion on laps here.
Okay, all right, no worries.
They're not quite sure what's going on.
Oh, okay. Sherelle's gonna leave.
So leaving, we had Mimi at 13:38, Gracious in second, 13:45, and only 2 seconds behind her was Emma in 13:47. So 9-second gap between first through third place at the moment.
That sounds pretty tight.
Yep, just like the men's side. And who knows, it might be, I think it was 15 seconds or so most of the race for David versus Jude, and then it came down to burpees. It could easily see the same exact thing happen on the women's side.
This is Sherelle and Kate running together.
Last year, world champs, Mimi went 123 on her burpees in DEKA Fit. That's a pretty quick time, so probably want to have a lead on her if you think you're going to outkick her.
I think because there's loads out on track still now as well.
And just visually, it looks like Mimi is the quickest runner of the group, of that podium at the moment. Whenever we see them, her cadence just looks a little bit quicker than Emma, who looks a little bit quicker than Gracious. Gracious was moving very fast early on, but I think that her pace is slowed just a little bit on the runs.
Here we go, Mimi first into the zone.
Emma coming in second. Let's see where Gracious is. Assuming she's still in third. Yep, there she is. We're coming in around 16 minutes. They're probably on pace for a little under 40 minutes in that 38 high to 39 range at the moment.
How did that place them in terms of global performance?
I'll need to look that up, but I think historically you've needed to run 36s or faster on the women's side.
Yeah, so that's Mimi. Emma is this lady. She came in second, and then that lady in green came in third.
Fourth into the zone was Kate.
1, 2, 3. Mimi is Adidas.
Quite a ways down.
So that's got to be Gracious, yeah. And this lady must be Emma. Yeah, she came in second. I think.
Thank you, Rabbit.
Did she miss a lap though? Confusion around zone 3. They all thought they missed the lap.
We're hearing confusion again from the Rabbits about a potential missed lap.
Their confusion might have been that they thought they missed the lap and they didn't.
So just for a comparison, the fastest time this year was 31:27 by Lauren Weeks, and she was well over probably about 3 minutes ahead of this current pace by the time that she reached Ski Erg.
That is so fast.
But you can't really compare people to Lauren Weeks. She's kind of on her own level.
That is fair. That is fair. You can check these times out on the global leaderboard online. That will be updated this week for Fit, and next week will be updates for Strong and Mile. And we do post those on social as well, so we'll see the top 10 in the elite waves, but you can check your own time. And for qualification, it's the top 15 in elite and in each age group. Those invites will start going out soon, and athletes have a limited period of time to accept their invitation. If they don't accept it, it rolls down to the next. So even if athletes aren't performing in the top 15, they still have a chance of getting invitation to the World Champs. But it's better to be aiming for that top 15, right?
Oh, exactly. And so she's leaving at 18:09. Mimi's back on the course, but currently, just to answer your question before, Jezebel Kramer from France is currently sitting in 15th position with a 35:12 prior to this race.
I mean, we know that she's an incredibly strong athlete in OCR, so that's a nice comparison. We know that she runs very, very well.
World class.
It was quite a different time.
For 1, 2, and 3 for the women. Emma and Gracious leading the zone almost at exactly the same time as each other.
So
The thing
leaving.
as well with running in elite, you do get to qualify for age group as well. So these athletes are not forfeiting a place at the World Champs by taking on the elite wave. And I do always encourage athletes to take, especially women, take on the elite wave. Give it a go, because we do need to grow the sport side. We want to see more women competing against each other. We have, in fact, an incredible almost 50-50% split male-female at DEKA. And this event, I think, was 49-51. It was so close. But the elite women, we saw fewer elite women than we did men. So do take that risk. Do take that chance. It pushes you to try a bit harder. And it's terrifying. It's scary. But the best things in life are.
Yeah, the overall participation is definitely very close to 50-50, as you mentioned, whether it's solo, team, if you group them together. But for some reason, just the wave size within the elite women's field never seems to fill up as much as it does on the men's side. I don't know if that's just guys are a little too confident in their abilities, or the word elite, some people just might not think they're, top end, but oftentimes you'll see someone in the age group division finish top 5 overall if you combine all the different waves. So just why not be with the fast people? You're running fast anyway. You might get a little more recognition too.
I think there is research that says women are less likely to take something on unless they feel very confident or they have evidence that they can do it, whereas men are more likely to take a chance. And I use that a lot to kind of make the point that it doesn't hurt to try. You're not gonna. What's the worst that could happen? If you come last, someone's gonna. It doesn't mean anything. You're always gonna look at you and go, well, you're not very fast. They're gonna be going, you're amazing. So,
Mimi, who's winning this race right now. Yeah, and Mimi, who's winning this race, picking up the kettlebells right now. She qualified for age group world championship last year, and now she's winning an elite race. Just because it has that category doesn't mean you can't hop into elite and do well. So she's proof right here that within one season you can be winning a race after being an age group athlete.
And my money is on the fact you are not going to see Mimi putting those weights down.
So based on what we've seen the past few running laps, Gracious seemed to slow down a little bit on the runs. I would be willing to bet that Emma is going to be the second to be picking up the kettlebells. Yep. There she is in yellow. Good timing.
It was incredible, Jack.
Oh wait, no, I think that was Kate, actually, yellow.
Oh yeah, Kate is in the bright yellow.
I mixed them up. So it looks like, I'm assuming...
Well, it was
yeah,
still
there's
great
Gracious.
timing.
So, yeah, so I think Kate is in 4th in the yellow because I see Gracious, and there's Emma finishing up. So yeah, let's see how much, any positional changes right here. Wow, you're seeing Kate make a serious move. She came in, what, 10 seconds down of Gracious, and now she's within 4 or 5 seconds of her leaving the zone, heading into the air bike.
But we just saw Gracious drop down into 3rd place there, right?
Yeah, but it
Zone
looked
5
like
in
Kate
second.
was right. Kate was right on her. No, we saw Emma in the black a little before, maybe 10 seconds before, just kind of sneak by in the corner of the camera.
Another sneaky one.
So just based on how Gracious has been running, we saw Emma put a noticeable gap. I think that she might have gone out a little bit too fast, so I would not be surprised at all if we see Kate in 3rd position, moving up from 4th by the time that they touch the air bike.
So you think Gracious took it too fast to start with?
I think she did, just looking at her
Gracious's
splits so
history?
far. Well, I'm just looking at her splits, and she started out with a 159, then went 205, and her 3rd run was a 234, and a 220, 218, and she just ran a 230 before Farmer's Carry. So I think that she might have gone out a little bit too fast. She has done a couple of high rocks. Her pro PR is just under 82 minutes, and she did Rotterdam and Cardiff earlier this year. But her running pace, she went 431 per kilometer, and I think that's a little bit. I think she started out a little too fast for that running ability at this race. She might have been better off going 215 instead of 159 for that opening 500.
As we were saying earlier, when we were watching the men's, I think this is a good example of the being pushed versus running your own race, and potentially maybe having gone out too fast because other athletes were pushing hard as well, rather than knowing potentially where's the best place to place yourself, and then suffering because of it.
So Mimi has a
so strong.
sizable lead. Yeah, she's cranking. This is moving. So it looked like Emma right there. 2nd place, what was that, about 30 seconds or so behind her, if I remember the time that Mimi ended up coming in. Uh-oh, she's having some seat issues.
No.
And we just saw Gracious and
Gracious.
Kate basically come in at the same time, but she's moving faster in the yellow. Gracious wasn't even touching
On
the
this zone.
handles, so I...
Is this a zone where height makes any difference? Does a longer reach help in any way?
I think it's mostly leg power. You're only going to get an extra few RPMs by using your arms. It does make a noticeable difference on how long you're stuck at the zone, but taller athletes probably have a little bit more power output that they can do on this. But as we saw, ram burpees, for instance, might favor a shorter athlete, as do lunges. So give and take throughout the whole race on height, whether it matters or not. But I do think it probably
that's always
does
been
favor a
interesting.
taller athlete.
Something that's always been interesting with OCR is how we've not really seen the rise of the ideal athlete, and I quite like that, and it feels like potentially that could be the same thing here in hybrid fitness if the zones are well balanced for
I think
height.
for the most part in
Size.
hybrid, you're having taller, leaner athletes do well though. So I look at it like a Dylan Scott or Vivian Tafuto on the women's side, and like you've got a lot of athletes with that style frame. Linda Meyer won High Rocks World. She's a taller athlete. I think that's kind of the prototype at the moment. Sure, you'll have some athletes who are shorter, like a Lauren Weeks or David Parkin, just still be able to do well. Yeah, but I think that in general, the prototype is being a little bit on the taller end.
That's interesting. And we also have here in first place currently is Mimi, who is also a shorter athlete, and that's not holding her back right now.
Nope. So Emma was almost a minute behind based on the split at the top of the screen. I think that Mimi had a really fast air bike right there.
You said she came into the zone about 30 seconds behind Mimi, but then leaving a minute behind. That's quite a lot. Sherelle and Gracious leaving at the same time.
So Mimi went 139, and Emma, who ended up leaving in second place, her air bike was 209. So about a 30-second gap, like you just mentioned right there. It's a game changer. There's only one Kevin Gregory out there who can make a big move, and you can't really do that in the middle of a DEKA fit, given so much is left in the race. But athletes who, on the women's side, are able to hold 60 plus RPM for the whole air bike can make a high 60s on the air bike. They're going to make a 30 plus second difference in that zone versus a lot of their competitors who might be high 50s. And on the men's side, if you're in the mid to upper 70s, even higher, you can make up 20-30 seconds on people who are in the high 60s.
And again, look over her shoulder to see what's happening. She's got a strong lead. I'm not sure she knows how strong it is.
She's still running well, though. It doesn't look like she's as fatigued coming out of it. Okay, she's walking a little confusion on which wall to go over, but she's still aggressive on this. I don't think that run took a whole lot out of her, so she probably paced the air bike well.
She's not letting up.
I didn't want to do all the running, and you'd be like, oh, I wish I could do some running.
I appreciate if you're happy to
yeah, fine, cool.
It's not the fastest that we've seen the zone be taken on, but she's also the first woman that we're seeing it. And again, a shorter athlete, so more to move, and coming off what is generally agreed to be the worst level.
She's lifting it pretty high. I think the general rule of thumb is do the bare minimum. So a lot of times it looked like she was lifting it over shoulder height. Might even be a better idea just to kind of tap the horizontal bar and just push it over instead of a full lift. Like, look at how far away you just saw her have to roll it back with her left hand because it's so far away from it. Keep it close
really
to the
getting
wall.
Thrown. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. And it's only, she's gonna have to do it again. See, another roll, so that's 2 separate times. She might have to do this 10 plus times over the course of this. That adds up
Sherelle
several seconds.
Totally lost there. I think she feels like she was on a station and lost it, but
I've been there where
Kate
you think you have it
on.
and then
Kate going on with it.
and look what she's doing. She's holding the frame to make a nice tight turn. So she wasn't doing a good job with keeping the ball close, but she's doing a good job with the footwork.
And now she's going all the way around. We've seen a lot of athletes just go the same side. Keep the ball, as you mentioned, keep the ball close to the edge rather than the center.
I've never done the full spin. I always kind of stay on one side the whole time. So that's a little interesting.
Come on, you got this.
Gracious there leaving.
So Gracious is out. Looks like she's... I think that we saw Sherelle leave in third, actually.
She must have powered through because Sherelle was on a Sherelle was not working on a station whilst Kate was going for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to capture all the competitors at the same time, but that was a little surprising. But yeah, currently it looks like Mimi in the lead. Go ahead.
Just behind her is an athlete called Casey, who she's a fantastic athlete, a member of one of our affiliate gyms, and she is one of the women who I encouraged to take on the elite wave, who was a bit scared to do it, and she did, and she was very happy she did. A big fan of her. She then stayed and judged for the rest of the day, and it's incredible when the elite wavers stay and give their tips and their support to other athletes. And I think she had a fantastic time. So great work there.
Casey O'Connor.
Casey O'Connor, Casey Spivey. She uses both names.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking in the results. It looks like she is currently in 6th place at this point. So, look at that. Step into the elite wave. You might do better than you expect. Back on the leader.
This seems to be the favorite sled that people go for. Is there often a zone in a position in each zone that the front runner goes for, or is it a very individual thing?
You have 2 thoughts. You can either run straight into it and take the shortest path, which is exactly what Mimi did. She's like, all right, I am running forward. I don't want to do a U-turn. However, when she gets out, now she has to do a little bit of, a few different shuffle steps to get around that pillar to get back on course. But she was able to carry her speed and push the sled right away. The other train of thought is you can do a U-turn right away, and that way, once you reach the end, you don't have to worry about your footwork. You can just dash off in the same direction of the course and just run right away. So it's where do you want to save your time? Most of the top-end athletes prefer to do the U-turn, is what I found.
Sherelle and Emma coming in at the same time here.
Yeah, virtually tied. I don't know about the arms extended. That is, with ram burpees
Seems
coming
painful.
up, I don't know if I would want to fatigue the shoulders any more than you need to.
How'd you get on?
We're going a little bit further than she needed to as well.
Nice one, mate. Round 2.
And unlike the men's race, most of the women are on the same side. Go ahead.
Yeah, but we can see Kate and Gracious over on the other side, who must have come in whilst we were watching these ones down at the end. Like almost as if by magic.
So we had Mimi come in at 31:40, and then about 45 seconds later, virtually a tie between Emma and Sherelle. And then Kate was about 20 seconds after them. So that's the who was virtually tied with Gracious. So you have pretty much ties for 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 5th, with Mimi far out ahead.
Wheel it, push it, this. Angle it a bit.
Another, let's see if she does what I'm about to call out. Okay, so her hands were already on, like the best athletes, you're holding on to the straps while you're pushing, so that as soon as you reach the end and you need to go backwards, your arms are able to just start pulling right away. Athletes who just kind of throw the straps casually on the middle on that weight, you're losing time because you have to fumble around and reach for it. We saw David Parkin, remember he was trying to get the strap over the arm bar because it got stuck in there. That's a way to avoid a mistake like that. So I think a lot of these women are doing a real good job holding on to the straps the entire time.
And you do have to use the straps. You can't pull back with the uprights. You've got to use the straps or it's a penalty, right?
Correct, and you can't turn around. You have to be essentially dragging it backwards like all the athletes are doing. Dave Claxton, who's the head judge in the U.S., has made it clear you are not able to turn around and walk the opposite direction with the straps behind your back or anything. You must do it exactly how they're doing. And there are a couple of options if you want to, as Mimi's leaving the zone, commanding lead. You can kind of do a pull, or you can keep your arms steady and just drag it back the whole time. Depends on how strong your upper body is.
Mimi's left that zone. Running, it seems to me, running as powerfully as she has done for this whole race.
Yeah, I think at this point she just wants to create distance. She probably doesn't know how close or far the athletes behind her, especially since some are on the other end of the sled lane. You just want to create a little bit of separation and get out of sight if you think someone's near you. And if she passes everybody and sees that everybody's still in that sled zone, she knows she's got the win locked up. It was a 3:27 sled by her. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, you could hear the crowd cheering for her. She came in like people were expecting her to do well with a lot of support. How was her sled time?
3:27. That's a long time spending on the sled. So I don't think it was one of her strengths. If I look
But
at the updated leaderboard, Cheryl Mitchell is 35-39. We don't have her on camera, but moved into second place. Emma Henahane is in third, about 10 seconds back, and then 6 seconds back of her is Kate Collinette. So got a good battle. Gracious faded a little bit there.
This is the interesting thing, isn't it? You know, we mentioned earlier that a lot of athletes were saying it's tough because it's a sprint and you've got to be fast. It is a sprint, but it's still a lot of work, isn't it? You know, you've got to move fast, but it's not for a short time and no work. It's fast moving for a significant period of time.
Exactly. It's a lot of compromise running, and the duration is about your 10K pace, or how long it would take you to run a 10K on the roads with the track. But your running pace is closer to like half marathon pace. It's very interesting, even though it's only a 30 to 40 minute event for these top athletes.
So Mimi's going right for the end match. She seems to have been quite tactical with her zone choices, and being the front-running female with... We're not seeing many men left out on the course now either. She has that freedom to choose, which is fantastic.
And I think she's making the right move by going to the end, especially since she's in first position. She'll know if someone comes next to her, and she's the closest to the finish line, where we saw Joe Orr kind of had this spot on the men's side, and had he gone a couple seconds faster, he came in later, he would have had a great positional advantage to cross the line and potentially get third place over Jack Murphy, but Jack did a little bit faster burpees. But going to the end is the right move in this case if it's open.
So that looks like it was Sherelle coming into the zone second, followed by Kate.
And Emma a couple seconds back. So another 3 athletes just really, really close.
Kicking the mat out of the way, choosing to just use the bare floor, no mat. I'm guessing that's allowed.
Most of the men that we saw were definitely on the lighter surface, not on the mat. It does bunch up if your feet get in the wrong spot. Mimi only has a couple left. I think I was about to say 19 or 20 at this point.
Such a beautiful,
her,
happy finish line for her there. Gracious, only just coming in to start her burpees. That's a big loss over the course of the race. She was in first place at one point. Now she's entering the zone after the first place female is finished, with quite a lot of people already in there.
But still, if you're within one set of burpees of the leader, you've had a good race. Just maybe go a little bit slower next time from the start, and you have even splits and might be on that podium. So that's Sherelle crossing the line.
Followed by Kate Collinette.
Yep. So Kate rounding out the podium. Emma right here. Gotta stop the watch. It's mandatory.
I love seeing the athletes when they finish congratulating each other.
Congratulations. Thank you. Quick word for the OCR report. How did you find that?
It was so tough.
Yeah?
But it's an incredible event they put on. Being in the velodrome gives it so much atmosphere, and these girls are mental.
Yeah?
They're so quick, so really pushed me to my limit there.
Also,
And,
great job.
Biggest thanks to you, because I was just shouting my laps at you as I went past. Thought, I know I've said 2 already, so I better keep going for 1 more.
Yeah, no, well done. Great race. Well done. Smashed it. Great job.
I'm going to give you a hug, I'm really sorry.
Well done, mate. Smashed it. Smashed it. I'll catch up with you in a bit.
All right.
Let's
I
take
think
a
that
look
was the
at the results, shall we, from that race.
Yeah, I think Jason's got some highlights, so let's take a look at those right before we get to the results, because it's a lot of action, a lot of close lead changes. So yeah, David
Here we
Parkin,
go.
we saw him get in and out real quickly early on, press the pace from the beginning, made it known that he was the man to beat. But throughout the men's
He
race,
came
a lot of
in.
athletes were a lot of athletes were taking their time, making up a little bit of ground on him gradually.
He came in with a goal. He came off a great result, beating his own record at Deadly Dozen. He really wanted to win. Again, he was a name that was on everyone's lips. David Parkin, Mimi Paton were two names that we kept hearing repeated. And he just kept pushing and he kept pushing and he was owning this race throughout the whole thing. Fast runner and strong in the zones as well.
As he mentioned, he won overall from the age group race at the DEKA Road Show last year in Birmingham, but he was number one elite today. His run split 18:38, so he was running about 3:45 per kilometer for his pace, low 13s for the zones. I think that he should have a spot for World Championship. I would love to see him come over and see how he can do. I've had a lot of athletes from Spain and Europe, France and Luxembourg, I think, were the two other European countries that we saw represented last year. So it'd be cool to have another UK in the elite heat.
We did. That's Tenny Ties from Luxembourg, who wasn't racing this weekend but would have owned it. She recently had foot surgery, so has been trying to get her qualifying races in before the season ended, ahead of World Champs. But it's going to be great to see an even broader range of athletes at the race and seeing all those flags against each other. Because the leaderboard currently, we have seen a lot of Americans, and it's pretty great to see a huge range.
Not this year. I mean, we've got a lot of different flags. Number one time in the world on the men's side, Tom Rogers from Australia, Isaac Sanderson in third from Canada. You've got 4 or 5 guys from Spain in the top 15, a couple other Australians. So I think it's finally more of a worldwide, not just a North American type of leaderboard.
DEKA's taking off globally. This year it's absolutely exploded. Australia is killing it, putting on incredible races with really, really great athletes over there. Spain has been going for a while. They put on really fantastic races and give so many opportunities. Mexico, Portugal, and the UK. We've got a trifecta weekend happening this weekend in Italy, which, although it won't be a fit qualifier, athletes can qualify there for strong and mile, just opening it up to even more athletes across Europe. So I expect to see next year even more flags taking over that leaderboard as it just expands globally as it's already doing.
Mm-hmm. And as we're just seeing kind of the final clips for the recap of the men's race, that was that incident with the straps that I was talking about with David, where it cost him 5-6 seconds just standing there, and Jude meanwhile is just motoring on the sleds. You saw him fumbling with it a second time, and then they basically get out at the same time. So that right there put him in a situation where he needed to be a faster athlete at burpees, and you're not always going to be faster than the person next to you at burpees. So that could be something to work on next time. But clearly he was the best athlete of the day, and a real good 1-2 battle here.
He just didn't let up at any point, did he? He did not let up, and you can see here, I imagine it's so tough at this point, pushing so hard and knowing that victory is so close, but he didn't. He never, ever let up. He kept going and he kept pushing. An incredible performance by Jude as well. What an athlete. So, so young. 23 is so young, and such a great head on him, and able to keep his cool throughout the race, keep going, and such a nice guy.
Yeah, I met him last year in Florida, and won his age group overall. Clearly shows that top age groupers aren't too far away from the elite, the best of the best. So it'd be very cool to see him at Worlds again as well. Now moving on to the women's race.
Coming into zone 1 all together as a group, that first 500 meters really run very, very close, and that spreads out as the race continues.
And you just saw right there, Mimi, same things happened to me that I mentioned, where she just happened to pick a rower where the straps were tight. It takes a few seconds to get in and out. She was fumbling a little bit, didn't hit the 500 meters, but wanted to avoid the penalty. So, she probably lost 5 seconds here. It wasn't enough to make a big difference in the grand scheme of things because she was so dominant all day. But those little mistakes, as you gain experience, she'll stop making those, but they add up.
Even the confusion there, you can see she passed the zone. She spent a good few seconds outside of the zone before going in. A lot of confusion here with the athletes on this zone, overlaps. I think when it comes to lapped races, It's part of it, is it? It seems to be part of the game, keeping track of how much you're running.
I screwed up one time where it was just sled pull and I only did 4 instead of 5. So that's a very straightforward, you should know how to count type of situation. But it's kind of on the athletes. You can't trust that the cameraman or camerawoman is always counting every single person's laps and differentiating first, second, third. So it's up to you at the end of the day to make sure that you're doing the right amount of reps. Yes, like zone 7 right there on the banner, it says 25 calories, but you need to know I need to do 25 calories. You can't just rely on outside help to avoid race brain. There's a reason why that's a term. So it's athletes need to be a little bit more accountable on number of laps of stuff. Sure, it's confusing. There's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, it's your race, and we saw it make a difference in the standings.
Yeah, absolutely. The judges here are incredible, and they were calling out reps and keeping the athletes on track, but it is always down the rules, the standards, counting your own reps, your own laps. That's down to each athlete, and it is their responsibility to do it. Here we go. The women, again, such a close race for the win, really battling it out, pushing each other, and a lot of changes.
In Europe, which it really has over the past couple of years, you're going to see more athletes just kind of clogging up the leaderboard, and you're going to have even tighter battles in the future.
All right, now we've seen the recap. Let's take a look at those results. Here for the men top 10. In first place, David Parkin, followed by Jude Reynolds in second place and Jack Murphy in third. That rounds out our podium. Joe Orr was in fourth with Jack Waymark in fifth. In sixth place, John Dean, and in seventh, Edward Clementson. Ben Key came in eighth, Mark Davies in ninth, and Jason Anderson rounding up the top 10.
That's pretty in line, that leaderboard, with what you'll see at most US races. So I think the UK is actually surprisingly deep at the moment for a local race. A lot of, if you're running sub 18, that's pretty elite. But a lot of athletes who are still able to qualify towards the back of the pack in the elite field are mid 18s for their 5K, and that's kind of what you're seeing here. Several, one guy broke 32, another sub 33, and several in the 33 to 34 range. I think that's a good sign for things to come on the competitive side for the UK.
Incredible. And then the women's top 10. Mimi Paton taking the top spot, followed by Kate Collinet and Emma Hennehain in third. Gracious Van Den Berg Slowey in fourth place, followed by Casey O'Connor in fifth. Stacey Tranter taking sixth, with Sherelle Mitchell there in seventh. Rebecca Smith in eighth. Zoe Furley in ninth, and Crystal Lambert rounding out the top 10. Now, this is a little different to what we saw happening out on the race with Sherelle, who crossed on a podium position, but she was awarded a 3-minute penalty for missing a lap 4 run, which we heard a lot of confusion during the race. And the timing chips, which we have on every lap and every zone, pick that up and award penalties automatically. So a great performance from her, but unfortunately, it's up to the athlete, as we said, not fall short of race brain and keep track of what they're doing, changing that result from what we saw crossing the line.
Regardless, still a great performance by her. A lot of the women in that 22-20 range for the running, it kind of seemed like across the leaderboard it was like that. But I think give it a year. Several of these athletes, now that they have a little bit more experience, they're going to clean up some of the form and become a little bit more efficient on, say, step overs or wall overs. And I think that you're going to see several of these women break in the 36 to 37 range next year.
Amazing. Well, I hope we see some of these athletes in Fort Lauderdale in December for the World Championships. And of course, the qualification for 2026 starts already. As soon as we're gone, we're starting with a new season. But we're going to see a huge amount of athletes in December. The OCR report will be there reporting live on all the action. It's going to be an incredible weekend, an incredible celebration of fitness. Will you be there, Jack?
We'll see if I get a roll down.
Incredible.
Should run faster.
Jack.
All right. Great talking.
Thank you for joining me, Jack. It was absolutely incredible. And thank you for watching. Thank you for all the athletes, the rabbits, Jason for producing. And thank you for DEKA for having us there and putting on an incredible event.